So hi guys, today we will see the Python list. So what is list? Suppose you went to a grocery store and you want to buy some grocery items. So for that, you have to print every item separately, right? For example, a lollipop, and then I just copy this code and paste it several times, and I'll just change the names. For example, milk, chocolate, then deodorant, bread, right? So if you want to print every grocery item separately, you have to write print statement every time, and or you can also put a variable for every item names, and you can call the variable again and again. So it takes a really long amount of code, and it is not easy to understand. I mean, easy to readable, right? So due to that, we can use the list over here. So for example, grocery is the name of the variable, and so you can put the items inside this box bracket. This box brackets, means that you are initialize a list. So for example, I'll just put every item inside the box bracket, separating by a comma. Okay. So the grocery item is successfully initialized with the value of the grocery items. So for example, now if you want to print this lollipop, you can print like this grocery, then inside the bracket you can put 0. That is because these items are in different positions. So the position starts with 0 and it goes up to the length of the items minus 1. So for example, here there are five number of items. So the last position is 4. That means 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I want to print this lollipop, I'll just write grocery 0 and it will print lollipop, right? Similarly, if you want to print everything like this, lollipop, milk, chocolate, deodorant, bread, everything, so you can use the for loop. So you can use like this: for I in range, and inside the bracket you can write the length of the grocery item. Grocery. Okay, I mistake the spelling actually. Yeah, and after that you can just print the grocery, and you can inside the third bracket you can put I, and if you run this code, so it will print everything like the first uh, program when we use the print statement. So it is actually working like this for I. So here I, the initial value of I is 0, and the length of grocery item is 5. So it is working 5 times. This loop is working 5 times, and it printing the grocery with 0th position. First of all, it prints lollipop, then again grocery, and inside the bracket is 1, it print milk, and similarly it's goes on and on till 5 times. Because if you put grocery 1, you can see it printed milk. Similarly, if you put grocery 4, it will print bread. But you can see over here the last element is the fourth position, is in the fourth position. That means if you write 5 over here, it will throw an error. So you can see index error, list index out of range, because there are no element in the fifth index of this list. So I'll just write over here 3 and run. Yeah. So in this way, you can call a particular item from the list, or you can print every item from a list. And a list doesn't mean it contains only the strings. It can contain numbers. It can be mixed. That means we can put string, number both in a single list. So let's do that also. For example, there is a number list where we can put all the numbers. For example, 1, 2, okay, I put it Q, 3, 4, 5, and now if I write this same code, I'll just copy from the above, and over here I'll just change it with number, and if I print, you can see the list is working fine. Similarly, you can put mixed numbers also. Mixed means mixed in the sense like you can put string and integers or float in a single list. So I'll just write over here mixed, and inside the list I'll put uh, Alex, then Albert, then Michael, and then I'll put two number. Now if I want to print the third element from here, for example, so mixed 2, it will print the third element, that is Michael. And if I want to print numbers, for example the fourth element or fifth element, I'll just put number, that is 4, it will print 4. And if I write 3, it will print 2. So in this way you can put anything inside a list, and you can do slicing also in a list. For example, you just want to print the first three members from a list. So in that case you can use this code mixed in the bracket, then first three items, that means you are printing 0 to 2. So you will just write over a 0 and then a clone and then 3. So that means it will print three elements after 0, that will be like Alex, Albert and Michael. So if I run this cell, you can see it printed three items. Since here we are beginning from the first element, that's why you may not need to write the first 0 also. If you write like this mixed, then a box bracket, and after that clone and 3, it will print the first three element. So see, you can see it printed the first element. Similarly, if you write 4, it will print the first four element. You can see, and you don't need to write a 0 over here, but if you want to start from a mid element, you need to write the position of that element where you want to start printing. For example, I want to print from Albert till 4, right? So I'll just write over here, it will start from 1st position, that is Albert, and it will print 4 element after the Albert. So if I run this code, and now if you want to start from a middle, you need to write the path, I mean the position of that element, the starting element. So for example, if I want to print from Albert, the position of Albert is 1, so I'll just write over here 1. And then if I uh, you can say if I want to print till 4, that means we are printing till 1 2 3 4, fourth position. That means we will need to write over here 5. That means we are printing the items from the 1st position till the 4th position. Okay, so if I run this code, you can see it printed from Albert till 4. Okay, now here there is a third slicing also. For example, let me just copy the grocery items so that the list size will increase. Yeah, so the total amount is 0 1 2, or I can print the length of the list. So I'll just write over here len mixed. So it will say there are 10 items in this list. Okay, so there is a third slicing also, like if you want to skip any numbers, for example you want to print the 0th item, then the you can say 2nd item, then 4th item, then the 6th and 7th item. Oh sorry, it's 8th item. Okay, so for that you can use the third slicing. So by default the third slicing is 1. So if I let me show you, if I run this code, okay, if I remove this thing and run this code, you can see it printed all the numbers, all the items, right? So if I add another slicing and if I write over here 1 and run this cell, you can see nothing changed because by default the last slicing is 1. And now if I change it with the value 2 and rerun this cell, that means it printed Alex, then Michael, then 4, then milk, and then deodorant. That means it is keeping the odd positioned item, right? So similarly, if I write over here 3 and run this cell, you can see it is actually skipping two items. That means Alex, then it skipped these two items and then it printed 2, and similarly after that it skips two items and then it printed milk, and similarly it printed bread, right? So in this way you can skip some items and you can put this negative as well, and it will actually reverse the list. If I write -1, it will reverse the list. That means bread will be the first item and Alex will be the last item. So you can see bread is the first item and Alex is the last item. And similarly, if I write -2, it will first reverse because the minus symbol means it will reverse the list, and after that it will slice the list. So if I write -2, first of all it will reverse. That means the list will be this, and then it will skip one item. That means it will print bread, then chocolate, then lollipop, then 2, and then Albert, right? So let's run this cell, and you can see bread, chocolate, lollipop, 2, and Albert. Similarly, if you write -3, it will skip two items and it will print bread, milk, 2, Alex from the reverse order. And you can put the other two slicing as well when you are slicing the third item. For example, I'll just write over here 1 and 9 and then 3. That means it will first print Albert because it is starting from the one position. That's why it will start from Albert, and after that it will skip two items. So Albert, then 4, and then chocolate, and that's it. So yeah, Albert 4 and chocolate. And there are some more function with list. We will see that in our next video. But there is a one more function in list, that is the max and min. For example, yeah, there is a number list where everything is number. That means everything is integer. So I'll just add another cell after this, and I'll just run this cell. Yeah, so it is working. And now if I want to print the maximum value from this list, that is 5, right? So for that you can write max, and in the bracket we can write number, and if you run this cell you can see it printed 5. Similarly, if you want the minimum number, you can write min and then the number, it will print the minimum number.